Imagiverse Studios presents Tales from the Horrorweb, an audio-only series based on the short stories by Gavin Pryor. Tonight's story is called Cursed Film. A night of fun at the drive-in movie theater cuts short when a screening of a film goes terribly wrong. Two friends become actors who will star in their own horror movie that involves a monster. Decker, along with his friends, Marlene, Jake, and Skipper, were outside at a skate park, checking out some upcoming films on their phones. Their other friend, Ashley, did some cool skateboard stunts as she filmed them with her action camera attached to her helmet. Those high school kids are part of a film club and are desperate to see any film they would like to see. They were also some horror film fanatics who have a website on which they review each movie that they see. But they made sure not to leave any spoilers because if they ever did, then people would just be mad at them. They browsed through the internet to see what movies they could watch at a movie theater. Ashley landed on the ground and skated to them. She got off her skateboard to see what movie they wanted to see. "Are you looking for some upcoming films?" asked Ashley. Skipper said, "We are sort of doing this because we needed something for us to add a new review to our website." Decker said, "We sort of watched a movie 3 years ago, and we all know how awful that movie was." "I know," said Ashley. "Not all movies were good those days." Skipper replied, "I gave that movie a 1 out of 10 because of how trashy it was." They scrolled through many entertainment news sites to find some upcoming films they would like to see. Ashley found something from a horror movie news website. A news article about a film that will be playing in their town at a drive-in cinema. At first, she wasn't sure what the film was, but when she was reading, she learned that the title of the movie is Attack of the Rebel Piranha. "Hey everyone," said Ashley. "Look what movie I have just found." They looked at Ashley's phone to see the article she was reading. "Attack of the Rebel Piranha?" Skipper said. "I don't know anything about this film." "I know this one," said Decker. "My teacher had told me that the film was said to be cursed. When the movie came out on May 13th, 1955, many people who saw this film have vanished. Many theater employees thought that they had left, but soon found some of them vacant, as if no one was driving them. Many theater employees said that the background characters were the people who had disappeared, but no one knows for sure what might have happened. Since then, the film has never been released on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, or even streaming. It's like the film never existed." "So that's why the film is cursed?" said Ashley. "I don't know about that." Decker said, "Since the movie is going to be at the drive-in nearby, I was thinking maybe we could go see it to prove that this film isn't cursed. I think this might be an urban legend." "I don't know," said Ashley. "I have a feeling that won't be a good idea," said Skipper. "We could either vanish somewhere, or it's like we will step into a movie with no return. But it would just be proof that the curse doesn't exist," said Decker. Marlene said, "Don't be a wuss. We just wanted to see this film. And if you don't want to see it, I am sure that there is a film with a unicorn in another theater nearby." "All right," said Skipper. "I'll go with you to see Attack of the Rebel Piranha." "Okay," said Decker. "Bets have been placed. We will meet up at the drive-in theater tomorrow night to see the movie." "That's when the movie is about to premiere," said Ashley. "Besides," said Decker, "I think it will be way better than the movie we just saw." "I know," said Marlene, "but how cool is this movie going to be?" "I have no idea," said Decker, "but I am sure I can leave a review on this after we watch it." Later that night, Decker looks up the movie Attack of the Rebel Piranha on a movie review site. Many reviewers have said that the movie is cursed and urge people not to see it. Some of the reviews even claim that people who had seen this film became part of the movie as background characters. They say that there might be a possibility for the main characters. Decker didn't decide whether this was confirmed or not, but he is rather confused by the reviews and doesn't seem to understand. He felt like some sort of detective trying to figure out what was happening. He wrote down the reviews people were giving about the film and placed them on the wall. The next day at school, Ashley meets up with Decker in the hallway to see what they can do to see this film. "It's much like other sci-fi movies," said Decker. "But is there anything we could do to get to the drive-in theater on time without missing it?" asked Ashley. "I heard that Marlene is driving us here," said Decker. "She will be picking us up around 6 p.m. The movie begins at 7:30 p.m., so by the time we get there, we won't be missing out on this film." "And what if this curse was real?" asked Ashley. "Then let's just say that we might be able to leave a review on this one. Maybe people will understand what it could be like." "Some people might not believe us when we leave a review on this," said Ashley. "Some people will believe in this, some people won't," said Decker. "I know," said Ashley. "Most people just won't believe in our reviews and will see the film anyway because they don't believe in this curse." At around 7:24 p.m., they made it to the drive-in theater on time to see the film. The tickets they had purchased online and printed out on a piece of paper were scanned by the employee. "Enjoy the movie," said the employee. They drove to find a spot to park their car to see the movie. When they had found the perfect parking spot, they got out of their car and made their way to the refreshment stand to grab some snacks for the movie. Ashley and Decker stopped to talk. "So about this one, if we knew that the film was cursed, do you think we could survive?" Ashley said. "No matter what happens, there might be a light at the end of the tunnel," said Decker. "It might have some interesting conflicts with the story that the film might tell us," said Ashley. "And if we end up in the film, would we be the main characters?" "Maybe," said Decker. "I just don't know what we should be expecting." Ashley said, "Seems about right." After they have gotten their refreshments, the movie begins. The screen shows the first scene, which takes place in a lab. A scientist is working on an experiment that can teleport people from one place to another. He tries it out on his teenage son, who is part of a school band. He wears a black leather jacket, a red shirt, jeans, and black shoes. The moment he steps inside the teleporter, the scientist closes the door and presses a button, which starts up the teleporter. However, something went wrong with the experiment. A piranha had recently gotten into the teleporter and was merged with the test subject rather than teleporting them both. When he stepped out of the teleporter, his appearance had changed into that of a creature with the head of a piranha, green scaly skin, sharp teeth, red eyes, and sharp claws on his fingers. He attacked the scientists and ran out of the lab. The scientist was shocked to see this happen. Suddenly, the teleporter shook and blasted out rays of light so powerful that the high school kids that were watching this covered their eyes. Blinded by the lights, Marlene and Decker had to keep their eyes shut to prevent their eyeballs from melting. When the blinding lights finally stopped, Ashley, Skipper, and Jake uncovered their eyes. "Is everyone all right?" asked Jake. "I am," said Ashley. "What about you, Skipper?" "I'm fine," said Skipper. "Marlene, Decker, are you two fine?" There wasn't a single response from either of the two. They looked around the car to find them, but somehow they couldn't find them. It was like some UFOs had caught them and placed them in their spaceship to do some experiments. "I think they are missing, Skipper," said Jake. "We need to go and find them." "Where could they be?" said Ashley. Skipper said, "I don't know. I am the only one who might be figuring this out." Decker and Marlene find themselves in a laboratory. They looked around to find their friends, but they seemed to be nowhere. The only person they could find was the same scientist from the movie. That's when they began to realize that they were inside the movie. The scientist had approached them slowly, with confusion. "Who are you people?" said Edgar. "I'm Decker. This is my friend Marlene," Decker said. "Don't ask how we got in, though. It's a long story." "I'm Professor Edgar," he said. "I'm not sure how you got in here, but you are aware that my teenage son has been turned into a monster." "Yes," said Decker. "But what should we do?" "Is there any way to change him back to normal?" said Marlene. "Sorry to tell you this," said Edgar, "but that would be impossible for me to do. I think the effects of this experiment, which failed, might be irreversible. And to make matters a bit worse for him, he has a concert for tonight." "That's not good," said Marlene. "If he goes to the concert like this, it would mean total chaos. What if there was a concert with a piranha on the loose?" "I don't know, but we might need to bring him back and see if we can try to get him back to his normal self, or he won't make it on time," said Edgar. "And how will we do that?" asked Marlene. "I think I may have a theory," said Edgar. "If we put him back in the teleporter, it might just separate the piranha from the human." "How do we find him?" asked Decker. "Well," said Edgar, "it's much more complicated than we thought. I will bring in a catcher to get the creature and bring him back to the lab. You two go look for him while I do that." They ran out of the lab. "Be careful while out in the city," said Edgar. "The creature is unpredictable." Decker and Marlene find themselves in the city after a minute of running out of the lab. They looked down to see that they were wearing clothing from the 1950s. Decker wore a black varsity jacket with a pair of jeans, a black belt, and black sneakers. Marlene was wearing a white long-sleeve shirt with a blue shirt and red shoes. "Did we just?" said Decker. I think we are in the movie," said Marlene. "I knew this film was cursed," said Decker. "So is it any wonder why people vanished years ago?" "Apparently, yes," said Marlene. "But I am not sure about any of this, however." "It makes no sense," said Decker. "Exactly," said Marlene. "And that is why we need to stop this kind of creature before it's too late." Back at the drive-in, Ashley, Skipper, and Jake are still in their vehicles. They had found Decker and Marlene in the movie, running in the city while they were looking for the creature. "What are Decker and Marlene doing in the movie?" said Skipper. "Wait, are they inside the film right now?" Jake said. "I knew this was going to happen. There must be a way out for them, or else they could be stuck inside of this film for who knows how long," said Ashley. They looked from behind to find the projector shining the movie onto the screen. "Should we shut the projector down?" said Jake. "No. If we do that, then they could be stuck here," said Ashley. "Let's keep this movie on until the creature is captured. I'm hoping that our two friends live," said Skipper. Skipper looks back at the movie screen as he eats his popcorn from the bucket. Meanwhile, Decker and Marlene walked around the street to see some people panicking in the streets, running as fast as they could to get away from the creature about to attack them. Decker sees the creature chase an innocent teenage girl who was wearing a red and white plaid shirt, jeans, and pink shoes. Marlene sees that there is a baseball bat in the middle of the road. She picked it up as they quickly ran to her as fast as they could, but the girl stops them. "Let us help you," said Decker. "Don't hurt him. He's my friend," said Helen. "Is he?" said Marlene. "It's true. We met for the first time since I moved to this town. I also play the guitar as part of the band," said Helen. "Our show is tonight." "We aren't trying to hurt him," said Marlene. "I am just here to take him back to the lab to get him back to normal." "So I guess that might explain why," said Helen. "He showed me around the lab the other day. I never met his dad, however." "He could be anywhere in this town," said Decker. "Maybe we should check out the old house I pass by when I go to school," said Helen. "It's only a couple blocks from here. Follow me." They followed Helen to an abandoned house. Decker turns his head back to glance at a police officer driving his cruiser. They quickly went inside the house and closed the door. The police officer took notice and got off the cruiser to check it out. "All units, some teens have broken into this abandoned house," the officer said. "I'm going to go inside and check it out." He rushed inside the house to investigate. When Marlene, Decker, and Helen got inside, they looked in every room but could not find the creature inside of them. Their next option is to check the basement to see if he is inside. They opened the door and checked. Meanwhile, outside of the film, Skipper, Jake, and Ashley went inside the projection booth. Inside, they see a metal chair and a digital projector. No one is in the room. "I think the projectionist is taking a break right now," said Skipper. "If he comes back, we could ask him how we could stop the film." "Hold on for a minute," said Jake. "If we stop the film right now, then they will be trapped inside the film for who knows how long." "I guess you are right," said Skipper. "We might need to let them finish the movie, and then we could turn off the projector before more people get sucked into the movie." "That's another plan we could do," said Skipper. "Most of the time, some people might not make it out." Back in the movie, the cop is looking for the three who broke into the abandoned house, but he still hasn't found them yet. He decides to stay in the hallway to wait for them to come out. "I knew this would be one hell of a day," said the cop. He heard footsteps coming from the basement. 3 people ran past the cop who he had seen them. "Stop," said the cop. "I just want to help you." Decker stopped and peered at him for a bit while he was running out of the door. "There is a piranha creature inside this house," said Decker. He ran out of the house and closed the front door as the cops stared at him. He then heard some growls coming from behind. The piranha creature tackles and devours him. Decker, Marlene, and Helen heard the police officer screaming inside the house as they ran across the street. The creature ran out of the house and chased after them. Helen looked at the creature with one glance and never turned back. They ran past a few houses and a few people. Some of the people who saw the creature ran against the wall or ran away to get away from the creature. After a few seconds, they spotted a library in the distance. They quickly took a shortcut from the left to make the creature lose them. It looked around to see where these 3 had run off to. It ran off somewhere else. Decker, Marlene, and Helen were hiding behind the trash cans. "The creature was behind us," said Helen. "Why didn't you tell us before?" asked Marlene. "I saw him from behind," said Helen. "I didn't expect this one to happen," said Decker. "As soon as we get your boyfriend back, we can leave this movie." "Wait," said Helen. "Are you saying we are in a movie?" All of a sudden, the movie started to flicker for a few seconds before Helen gasped in shock. "What's going on?" said Decker. "The movie we are in is self-aware." "When did you start to say that?" said Decker. "How were you able to know this?" "I was actually one of the few audience members who saw this film back in 1955 when it first premiered," said Helen. Every time the film premiered in some movie theaters, a new audience member would be put into the film. Afterwards, they would fall into a hypnosis where they could be part of the film. "Does this happen all the time?" said Marlene. "It only happens every few years," said Helen. "Did you know what might be the cause of this?" Decker asked. "I don't even know, but I am about to figure this out," said Helen. "But we have to find the creature before it's too late." When they got to the library, they could see the creature inside. It was near one of the bookshelves. It glanced at them. "I've seen this creature before," said Helen. "I was supposed to play the role of his best friend. But somehow, I feel like this is wrong and I shouldn't be here. For years, I've tried my best to get out of this film. But no matter what happens, I always end up back in the film each time I escape." Decker's phone started to ring, but somehow the ringtone sounded like some sort of radio signal. He picked it up from his left pocket to find that his smartphone had turned into a two-way radio communicator. "Where did you get that?" said Marlene. "I didn't," said Decker. "My phone somehow just turned itself into a communication device." "That's odd," said Ellen. Decker turned on the radio and spoke into it. "Can you guys hear me?" said Decker. "We can," said Ashley. "Where are you right now?" In the projection room, Skipper, Ashley, and Jake are figuring out how to switch off the movie. "I am inside the library," said Decker. "The creature is inside and might be coming for us anytime soon." "Don't worry," said Skipper. "We are going to shut off the projector." "That's a bad idea," said Helen. "Why?" said Decker. "We might be rescued once we are out of this movie." "It's what we might think," said Helen. "But if the projector is turned off, then we could be stuck here. I've seen some people shut off the film, and I was stuck here. We might need to find another way to escape this film." "Don't do it," said Decker. "I just heard from Helen that we could be stuck here until the film starts again." "So, you want us to keep the projector turned on until the exit is found?" said Ashley. "Yes," said Decker. "Don't worry," said Skipper. "I will find the projectionist. She will know what to do." "I forgot to mention that the projectionist is my mother," said Ashley. "She works here. Occasionally, I would visit her during her shifts and would get to see a free movie." "That's very nice of your mother," said Marlene. "Just hang in there," said Ashley. "We will be right back with my mother in a few minutes." They ran out of the projection room to find Ashley's mother waiting outside of the projection booth. "What are you and your friends doing there? And where are Decker and Marlene? I have spent nearly all night trying to look for them." Ashley pointed to the screen outside. Jane looked to see that they were inside of the movie. "Are they inside Attack of the Rebel Piranha?" Jane asked. "I believe that the movie had some sort of curse," said Ashley. "You know that film can bring people inside. I can give an explanation about this." Skipper, Ashley, and Jake found some chairs and took their seats. Back in 1955, the director of the film was hired by the studio to create a creature feature film, Jane explained. When he pitched the idea of Attack of the Rebel Piranha, the studio greenlit it, and production began. During production, many cast and crew members suddenly vanished in the blink of an eye. One by one, no one knows what happened. When the movie first premiered, the director used an effect to capture the audience members and make them extras in the film. It's even expected that the audience members will replace the cast and crew for the movie. Every few years, when the movie is released again, new extras are added. That is until today, when two of your friends are inside the film as the main actors. "No way," said Skipper. "My mom has always known this for years," said Ashley. "I don't know if there's any way to turn the film off," said Jane, "but we will think of something." Meanwhile, back in the film, Helen, Decker, and Marlene are outside, running down the street away from the creature. A white truck pulls over. Stepping out of the vehicle are two men who are wearing jeans, white shirts, and blue long-sleeved button-up shirts. They were both holding nets in their hands as they ran towards the creature and caught it. They brought it inside of the van and drove off. They followed it back to the underground lab. They went inside and went back to Edgar's laboratory, where they had been before. They see the two men from before standing behind the cage, guarding the creature inside. "So that's where we have been before," said Marlene. "I teleported there too." Edgar came into the room and went to the cage. Edgar said, "You boys go ahead and start up the machine. I need to get my son back to normal before the concert." The two men left the cage. Suddenly, the film stopped. But Decker, Marlene, and Helen are not frozen. They started to see everybody freeze in place. In the projector room, Jane saw that the projector had stopped the film without any warning. "I have no idea this happened," said Jane, "but whoever made this film could not finish it." Back in the movie, the entire lab fades away. The two men begin to vanish, and the cage disintegrates into nothing. Edgar and the creature are still here, but they don't seem to be frozen either. Edgar stares at Decker with a frown on his face. The creature took off his mask to reveal an actor who played the creature. The rebel teenager from the beginning of the film is there too. Edgar approached them slowly. "How on earth could the film stop?" said Edgar. "Somebody must have cut the film strip," said Helen. "The film strip? What is going on?" said Edgar. "The director has told us to play a role in the film." A crowd of people who are the missing ones and became extras in the film came together and stared at the director. It turns out that he was the director of the film. "Never again am I participating in your film," said Helen. John said, "But all of you people are so good in my movie. I don't want you to leave, because this is my world that I have created." "How is it even your world?" said Decker. "I, John Natas, have directed this film with the cast and crew. The moment after they left, I thought that the film would last forever. But that's not what the film production said. They said it was ludicrous and a disaster that people would not want to see. But my audience members do love it. When I showed the film to them, I would pull them inside of my film and catch the many people I could find in exchange for me living an eternal life. If I hadn't sold my soul, I wouldn't have lived all of time. Film is forever," Marlene said. "But that doesn't give you the right or opportunity to put people in the film. Motion pictures take a lot of effort and time. We have cameras to film, scripts to write, and ideas in our heads that we can use to brainstorm. The cast is not meant to be literally inside the movie." "Besides," said Decker, "your creation is the best. We don't think it's the worst." "Me too," said Helen. "I never got back to the real world. I've spent my years being chased by the creature until these two new friends came along." In the projection room, Ashley stood by to pull the plug on the projector. Skipper and Jake were watching this happen on the screen. "It's better this way," said John. "No one will grow old or even die. Give in to it." "No," said Decker. Jane grabbed the film reel and took it off the projector. Decker and Marlene were watching this happen on the screen somehow. "What is she doing?" said John. "She is getting us out of here. We're not going to be in your film anymore," said Marlene. Jane went inside of the basement and found a furnace. She threw the film inside and closed the door. The flames engulfed the film as it burned to the ground. The projector turned off. The room suddenly went dark as the cast and crew members disappeared. Marlene and Decker opened their eyes to see that they were back in the car. Skipper, Ashley, and Jake ran over to their car to see what happened. Marlene and Decker were back in their usual clothing as they wore before they were inside the film. "Are you two okay?" said Ashley. "Yes," said Decker. They quietly got into the vehicle and started to drive home safe and sound. They pass by a cemetery where they see the people who have vanished from the film, only to discover that they were ghosts. It turns out that the people from the 1955 film passed away when the film was destroyed. About 10 years later, a movie studio would create a reboot of the film. The director, Mark Natas, the grandson of John Natas, would be able to produce the horror film with the new cast and crew he hired. He had gotten a bit of inspiration from the classic film since he had seen it with his parents. However, Decker, Marlene, Ashley, Jake, and Skipper took notice and decided to fly to Hollywood, California.